Hello, this is a Bluthner style 5 grand piano. It's 5 foot 9 inches long, 175 centimeters. Just come into stock, made in 1912, and just trying to see what sort of work might improve it. And I appreciate the piano too. The polish is certainly excellent. You can hardly fault it at all. It's been refinished in a matte finish by a professional restorer. Actually, it's a trade restorer who restored a very great quantity of pianos, so very experienced. So he retired recently. Just have a look at the rosewood here, and that's typical Bluthner rosewood, so beautiful. The 1912 Bluthner is a little bit plainer than the one, say, pre-1900 or that kind of era, but it's still very tasteful. And you can see there, always rosewood is special because they have contrast to veneer, and this is finish off in a lightish colour, which is what we would do as well, to try to show off more of the contrast. So I hope you can pick most of that up on this video. It's very good sort of honey red rosewood, if that's the right way of describing it, and the legs are square on this age of Bluthner, and Star 5 is the smallest one. Well, sorry, it's the smallest one of this era. There are smaller Bluthners if you go to the restyled ones of 1926, but very popular, and so we're trying to source these whenever we can. The key tops are good, and they're repolished, as you can see, so buffed. That's what means that they're shining up. There's just a chip here. We can disguise that. Hopefully we can make it really good disguising it, otherwise we've got to replace the top, which may not quite match, but we're used to having to do that. Obviously we've got literally thousands, I think, of ivory key tops. Some of them have been struck back on, having come off, but there's no ridge in it. They're professionally done, as I say, by a restorer who stored a vast number of pianos in the UK, actually. If you buy the piano, I'll let you know who the restorer is. There's some a few issues with the piano which we want to look at, but the frame colour's good, the soundboard is perfect, and so on. So there's some excellent work being done. Just might as well go around the back end of the piano just to show, well, it is as perfect as you can get. I've turned the flash on so it looks a bit different colour wise, so I hope you can pick that up, but beautiful veneer as you'd expect. And internally pretty perfect, really. I'm guessing this has been done in 1985, 1990. By the way, there's quite a lot of these in the piano, which I'll show you. Actually pulled out so many. I'm not sure if they work inside their packet. If you're familiar with them, I'd love to find out. I'm sure that they're an anti-moth. I took one out of the packet to have a closer look. So I just want to learn, really, and one of the joys I have in this trade is trying to learn all the time, and I find the videos really helpful for that. These are lavender, and that's a very good idea. Moths don't like lavender, and presumably don't like whatever's in there. I can't smell it. It doesn't seem to smell that much at all, so love to find out. But these lavender, you can still smell the lavender, and apparently moths don't like lavender, and we do, so that's a good thing to put inside the piano. Now, this has been restrung, and the rest punk's not been changed. We've mentioned changing rest planks before. In Bluthner's it's relatively easy to change the rest plank, and we would normally do that. This has been done without changing the rest plank. Perfectly good, although I think I don't want to try and immediately make sure these are tight. They're as big as they'll get, so I just want to make sure they're really tight, which I think they are, so just reset the pins to be absolutely sure. And after, if you keep the piano in a good environment, that should be fine. If you dry the piano out, then the tuning pins will go loose. It's possible and certainly doable, and we often do change the rest plank and then put new strings and new tuning pins. It's a shame to have to do that, as it's been very well restrung, as we'll hear in a second. And generally the work's been beautifully done. The dampers are going up a bit too far with the pedal, much too far really. I'd like them to rise up normally so that these wedges come clean of the strings, but not that high up. So that's something we would do. But actually, more important than that is that some of the hammers are pulling the dampers off too early. So we need to adjust the dampers. Basically, you might see they're coming off when they're about less than a quarter of the way. So we'd want a third to 2/3 really. So that's adjustment that needs doing. And actually also the dampers are lifting off too early with the pedal, and they're tending to almost lift off straight away here. Let's listen to the tone now. I played a couple of notes. nice new arbel hammers, which is what we would use ourselves. And rich bass as you'd expect from a Bluthner, so well matched strings, as I say, experienced restorer. Well, these are arbel German hammers, as you can see from the side of that one. They've usually got that written on the side of one or two of them. And, well, they're the best hammers to put in Bluthners. Renner's obviously making good hammers too, but Bluthner and arbel seem to be, and I think Bluthner use arbel for new hammers too. I'm not certain about that, if you know whether that's true or not. Of course, Bluthner's changed a lot because in 1942 the factory burnt down, and then for a while they found it hard to maintain the kind of standards that they had before. But then after 1990, when the Berlin Wall came down, there was a reinvestment, because Bluthner was East German, so it's important to know that Bluthner's made after 1942 till about 1990 are a totally different piano from the old ones. So I mention that because that's probably not so obviously known. So you might be thinking if you're getting a younger Bluthner, you're getting a better piano, but in fact the best Bluthners, I think if you're in the trade you can comment on this, but made up till say about 1940, they changed the style in Bluthners, and this is the older style, which is pre-1926 and approximately, and dates some really excellent Bluthners right from about 1885 to 1925, which is the patent action style, and then they changed to being the standard lever action whippen, as we call it in England. And anyway, sorry, I've mentioned that before, so you can check videos on that. So this L shape here is the standard Bluthner style action, which is loved by many people. So here's the assessment sheet. Most of the things I've mentioned on this already. It's slightly below pitch, 438 on the left there, you can see the pitch. The hammers are tight, replaced, sorry, beg your pardon, tuning pins are tight, replaced. I just want to set them all just to double check that they are tight. They're large tuning pins, but it should be fine. And if you, well, all pianos really got to not dry out, so that's really important. If it's going in underfloor heating, then you have to be extremely careful. That's something we've always having to deal with. So restored between 1985 and 1990, possibly slightly later, by a very prolific piano restorer. If you buy the piano, I shall let you know who that is. He's retired now, about 10 years ago. So pitch raise, reset pins if necessary, reweigh the action. Now, that's something we was mentioned last, and really that 65 grams down weight for that bottom C is well, more than 20% higher than it should be. Say 50, 55 might be acceptable, 52 is what we're aiming for. And you can see they're all tending to be high. The B's marked on there, they're a bit bright, so obviously voicing, but nothing serious there. But certainly the weighting, if you want a heavy action, obviously that's 20% more. And it's not to do with lubrication, although lubrication is something I put down here. It's not that bad. I'll just show you what I mean by that. So with all the weights combined together, including that, is about 65 grams, and it's just going down. This one is slightly more, in fact, it's not really going down to 65, so let's say it's about 66 or 7, and it's going down here, so I've put that down, that's actually about 60. If we look at middle C, which should be about 50, it's going down, that's not a problem. Let's see how many we take off and it still goes down. So all this is measured with the foot on the damper pedal, and if we just look, I've got 61 grams on here now, and it's just about going down, so 61 grams. That's, as I say, about 20% heavier than it should be at 50 grams. So it's not, but it's not needing lubricating. That's what I was going to mention. If you lift the key up, it goes straight down. So that certainly the balance rail, which often needs lubricating, and when we lubricate that, it takes the weight down considerably. But here we can see that they're well lubricated and they're too heavy. So we need to reweight the keys, and hopefully there's enough space in the key, yes, to put weights in. There certainly is, so we can put extra weight. Somebody seems to have taken one out there, or that's just a half a weight perhaps on the other side. There's not very much weight in there. I think we can add weight without any problem. The sharps can sometimes be a problem, but again, we can add weight, so we can take that down by 20%. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So that's a Bluthner style 5 gram piano, 5 foot 9 inches long, 175 centimetres. It's been restored, fully restored by a very prolific restorer who certainly knew how to restore pianos. The casework is pretty much pristine and the action is excellent. Good arbel hammers. So the only real work that we have to do, I think major work, is to reweight the keyboard. It's, as I say, it's about 20% higher than it should be. And I'm used to playing on all sorts of pianos, but if you're not playing that much, and you might find it a bit on the heavy side, so that's something we'll certainly do. But it's typically even Bluthner tone. And it's very even, and it's at the top end is as strong as you'd want it to be. Bluthners tend to suffer from not being so strong on the top end, but this has been very well voiced really, and the hammers have been fixed very well indeed. So you can have a strong tone at the top. I mention that because that can be an issue with all pianos really, but very often with Bluthners. Beautifully as you expect it to. A little bit of voicing to do here and there. It plays very delicately. It's well regulated generally. Nothing's been done since it arrived. It arrived this morning. I hope that's helpful. If you're interested in trying out a piano, you might notice this is in our storage area. We are actually redecorating at the moment, so this very moment in time, please check our stock list and it'll say on there if the piano is in the storage area. If it's in one of our showrooms that's been redecorated just for a short time. Next week actually, it might not be next week if you're watching this video, sorry, but please look, and we'll note for each piano on the stock list, we'll note whether you can view it or not and where it is. If you want to try a piano out, then you can always rent the piano. You'll see details on the website. Please inquire info@robertspianos.com if you want more information. Thank you very much for listening.